Hello, everyone. My name is Kiel Demispa Kanyur-Steed, better known as KJ, and I'm the founder of Future Civics. Future Civics is probably a brainchild that has been in my head since I was 12. I first started getting involved with civic engagement when I joined Youth Parliament. From a very early age, I saw how the intersection of policy as well as community engagement really directed in how people solve big complex issues. If I had to describe Future Civics, I would have to describe it as a funnel. We start by convening people, building up trust, understanding where people are coming from, allowing folks to understand the big, hairy problems that are happening within their community. Once we really figure out what we want to talk about, we go into the research and the advocacy space, because I think those two go hand in hand. And how our approach of researching is looking at the informal side of it. Because when we look at research, we always think that you have to look at a university or we have to go to a big think tank. But in reality, people on the ground are doing the research every single day. So we really want to get those nuggets and build a network approach to ensure that people can build together. And then the fun part is the ideation part of it and implementing it. And that's why we call it the social incubation. Because we take all of the accelerating and the capacity building, and then we actually try to figure out a way to solve it in real time. Since COVID, we've seen massive development, urban, rural, and everywhere in between. Future Civics is now prime because we are at a point where we're seeing the last frontier, which is rural communities, experience rapid growth and rapid development, but really not seeing themselves in the conversation of where we're going as a province, as a country. One thing that we do very uniquely is centering community voices. And that can be as simply as, providing folks with the opportunity to be heard, to simply going large scale and walking away from a project when we know that we need to walk away from a project. We value in the fact that empowering community is community first. Community first voices are reflected in everything that we do at Future Civics. When you look at the different pillars that we have, we ground ourselves to the community champion, understand the historical context in which these communities are in, and we always try to figure out how can we ensure that we're building for them. And that can be as simple as, understanding that when we're having engagement sessions to have childcare, to on the larger scale, being able to walk away from a project because we know it doesn't align with the values of the community. Community first does not necessarily mean just saying it. Community first is an action that we try to build, and we create that feedback loop because we know it's not perfect. Future Civics is different because we always ask the same question: who holds power? Who has to build trust? And how can we figure out ways of building that governance culture that allows people to ebb and flow? We're different in our approaches to social innovation because we look at the whole ecosystem, whether it's social enterprises, community development, economic development, policy, and we really try to figure out how can we utilize different tools to look at building up empowerment for the community champion and for the community itself. We don't just want to create businesses. We don't just want to create nonprofits. We want to utilize different tools to solve the problem that creates the network of creating solutions for a new and just way of looking at civics. An example of how we show up in community is a project that we're looking at, coastal adaptation, where we're going into community, we're trying to understand what are the business opportunities, how we're going to utilize blended financing, what are the governance constraints around looking at coastal adaptation within a rural community. We're looking at not just the problem, but we're also building up this network of solutions at the same time, and not solely looking at it through we need to apply for grants. We're utilizing entrepreneurship, we're utilizing community engagement, and trying to figure out what's a happy medium. Another example is what we're doing in the Digby County area, where we're trying to address food insecurity with the opportunity of getting into the agriculture sector. What we've seen in communities is that there is a large scarcity mindset that's hindering innovation and hindering collaboration. And As an organization that's newly starting, we're seeing that happen in real time too. So what we're trying to do is normalize this idea of carpooling resources, where we work with other organizations to build projects. We normalize this notion around collaboration around big complex issues that we're seeing, and we're trying to figure out how can we come together through resources as a way to solve problems. And we're doing it now with the initiatives that are being seeded with Inspiring Communities, whether it's the strategic lens and the operational side of things when we're working with the New Roots Community Land Trust in Halifax, or it's testing the social incubation idea with the CALM initiative based in Digby. We're looking at how can we normalize the notion of collaboration within the third sector within Atlantic Canada. We are in such a pivotal point when it comes to where we're moving forward as a region, as a province, as a country, as a continent. And rural communities need to be at the table. But we also need to have conversations about what does it look like to build the capacity. And I think this is a perfect time to test it out of how will it look like to bring different organizations, different actors, different community champions together to say, what if? Because I feel that folks should age in place. Folks should want to be in rural communities. And so that's what we're testing.